Stay tuned for some outtakes. Welcome to Pitch It To Me podcast, a show about the subjective past, present, and potential future of Flesh and Blood design. We have emerged from our isolation with prophecies from the future. It's up to you whether or not you believe them. Today's episode is Pitchin' predictions for the Hunted. On Red Pitch, we duke out what the set's daggers and equipment will look like. On Yellow Pitch, we will traverse the talents and reveal what's new with Chaos and Draconic. On Blue Pitch, we debate gem packs, reprints, and how the Hunted will impact the Assassin, Ninja, and Warrior classes. You can find us across all socials such as Bluesky, TikTok, and Instagram at Pitch It To Me Podcast.
I'm Clark.
I'm Fuzzy.
And I'm Joel.
Welcome to another episode of Pitch It To Me Podcast. Woo! We've been on hiatus for a few months. This is our second episode since we returned. Although I must admit, our last episode was pretty low stakes.
Yeah, we made it extra short. It was very casual. We didn't really talk about Flesh and Blood.
This episode is anything but low stakes. It's high stakes. It's pitching predictions, guys.
Yeah, we're betting pink slips. We're betting the house. We're betting the car.
It's arguably our highest stake episode. Who's in the lead?
I think I've won two. I remember winning heavy hitters.
I think I'm an underdog.
I think you both won one.
Everyone's won one.
Because I definitely won Rosetta.
Okay, what are we talking about? So Pitchin' Predictions is the time-honored tradition here at Pitch It To Me podcast, where we make predictions about a set that's about to be released and then immediately get egg in our faces when we realize nothing that we said was true. But it's our chance to try to pretend like we have a really good understanding of the game, where we have a good understanding of what LSS likes to print, what they like to do with their new sets. And then when the new set is released, as we're reviewing the new set, talking about how hype all the new designs are, we're going to come back and look at these predictions and see who is the most correct.
Yeah, we've done this for every single set since Bright Lights, and we always like to make a game out of it to see which host can be the most correct. I think right now the standings are Joel has won 2 sets, and me and Fuzzy have won 1 set each.
We also have some predictions from our Discord members. So once again, this is your reminder. If you haven't already, go sign up for our Discord server where you can participate in conversation. Discord is totally free. Joining our Discord server is totally free, and it's totally fun.
Yeah.
For each of our pitches today, we're going to have a different category of prediction, and each host is going to make 2 predictions in that pitch. Red pitch is going to be talking about weapons and equipment. Yellow pitch is going to be talking about Chaos and Draconic. Blue pitch is going to be talking about reprints, gem packs, as well as the class support, like Ninja, Assassin, Warrior predictions.
Yeah, Blue pitch just kind of ended as our little catch-all for everything else.
Yup. And the Arsenal Zone will be after, where we're each going to make a prediction about an expansion slot card.
Yeah, I think normally we would have liked to have done this maybe a month sooner, like before the Arachne Hero card got revealed and all the Demi Heroes started getting revealed. Mm-hmm. But because of where we were in our hiatus, it just sort of ended up that we are doing this now after we have learned about a lot of cards and information. I don't think it's gotten too in the way, and Pitchin' Predictions is always a balancing act of when do we pull the trigger on actually starting to make predictions, right? When have we gotten enough information that we can make informed decisions? And when do we not have enough information and we need to wait for more to come out?
And then also we need to make sure that we release the episode before they basically invalidate all of our predictions and just make it a bad episode. I think that's what happened with Dustodon. But
yeah, that was exactly what happened with Dustodon.
Yeah. It's a rough world out here for us podcasters.
Yeah, God. So, just look out for your podcast friends.
LSS needs to do more to design around our podcast schedule.
Our 125 subscribers, they care deeply. So for Red Pitch, we're going to make some predictions about weapons and equipment. I'm going to start things off, and I'm going to say I think Warrior Daggers will be very quote-unquote vanilla. I don't think there's going to be any effects on them. I think it's just going to be a stat block, Perhaps If we're lucky, it'll be like a warrior draconic dagger that costs 1 resource and swings for 3 power. And all the effects of these daggers are going to be stuff that gets tacked on by your card effects in Draconic Warrior.
3 power dagger.
It'd be a lot, right?
Hey, yo, I didn't catch that part. I'm like, wait, what?
That'd be a lot, right? I'm not necessarily expecting it, but I think like they're gonna kind of be a blank canvas that the warrior can paint effects onto.
That would be fucking sweet.
I mean, they've established that all daggers are 1 power, so I just think...
Oh, have they?
Yes. Like even Quicksilver Dagger, which is the other warrior dagger.
Oh, when you say
is 1
established,
power.
you mean by precedent?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So precedent says that daggers are 1 power with conditional go again. And then... Or not always conditional go again, right? Because technically assassin daggers have guaranteed go again.
Yeah.
But they cost 1 more to swing with than other daggers.
I think they're okay with like every other class getting go again on their weapons besides warrior.
Yes, but I think the draconic daggers kind of have to have go again.
We'll see. No, because... Well,
Or some kind of condition for go again.
We've seen cards in the set that give your daggers go again. So
Yeah.
I'm skeptical that the daggers are going to have base go again.
well, I am close to calling this ground fruit prediction just because warrior cards usually suck in comparison to other classes. But
Well, we haven't
they'll let
seen
you have it.
a blank warrior weapon with no effects before, right? Because like Kasai's daggers, or not her daggers,
Centauri Sabers.
they got an extra 1 power when they were blocked by a attack action card.
That's more my bias talking than an actual like objection to your prediction. For my prediction, I think all daggers will cost 2 resources to activate.
Whoa!
And the reason I think this is because with one of Arachne's forms, I think it's like you equip of a glycerin, whatever
It's
the hell.
Yeah, it's like a graphene chilitaris.
I know it's a scientific name for a spider's mandible or like their mouth or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care about spiders. Anyways, that ability and how it costs like X less to equip or 1 resource less to equip makes me think that you're going to be flinging your daggers with like flick knives. Syndra's ability also makes me think that the daggers are going to be like, you can use them to get draconic chain links, but for the most part you're going to be flinging your daggers back and forth, and they will probably silo, just using your daggers or getting double value from your daggers by both swinging and flicking them in the same turn. And Fang, and again, this is my bias showing, I think Fang's ability will be relatively underpowered by giving the reduction, because I don't think they want to give free dagger swings to the warrior, to the weapon-centric class, specifically because of how we've seen it in other classes, or in other warriors. So with Courage of Bladehold, it requires a whole chest piece slot to make your sword attacks free, and with Kasai's ability, there's like some sort of quest to get your attacks free for 1 turn, or your sword attacks to cost 1 less. So for that reason, I think these daggers will cost 2, and then that would just require 1 blue for maybe an above rate dagger swing on the warrior side.
Yeah.
But, that remains to be seen.
It could be like a 2 power dagger that comes in for 2 with no go again. I think that is possible, right? Rather than keeping with the precedent of daggers being 1 powered, they break that, but then take away the conditional go again.
Yeah, but that's just so much worse than Centauri Saber.
Oh yeah, sure is.
I also think it's interesting though, because it would kind of back up what Fuzzy was saying about the cost reduction being there. Like, there's a world where both of your predictions are correct, where like the dagger could have a cost reduction effect on it already. Like if you play a red card, it costs 1 less to swing with, and then if you activate his ability, now they are truly free. So it asks you to sort of fulfill these 2 states, both at the same time. And with fealty tokens, you can kind of be like, well, I can activate the fealty token to make the attack draconic, but like I need the fealty tokens to give it the hero ability cost reduction. And so I feel like there's some interesting play in there, actually.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
There's a lot of opportunity for synergy with the weapons, but I think LSS in the past has been afraid of giving too much synergy for the weapon-centric class, just because if I'm swinging for free every single turn, that's like, a lot of value that other classes just don't have access to.
They really, really want to push you guys to be spending cards.
Right.
My prediction is the Assassin Dagger will mark on hit. So, looking at, to be fair, Mine is a little ground fruity because I got to see what Arachne's ability is, Arachne Marionette. Marking seems really, really important.
Yeah.
And marking is important to all the third classes, but it seems especially important to Arachne. And I think it's actually really, really interesting because if it is following the same pattern as what's the Beckoning Mistblade? With Beckoning Mistblade, when it hits, it gives +1 and go again to the next blue attack that you play. In a similar vein, this could be 2 resources to attack for 1, mark on hit. Your next stealth attack gains +1 and go again. So it can be right in line with Beckoning Mistblade in cards that they've already printed.
I definitely see that being the case because, well, my assumption is that they would want to make marking relatively easy for the class that, like, basically does not have a hero power until they hit a marked hero or they have a marked hero in front of them. And my only hope would be that if it does have that ability, it does not have piercing, similar to Beckoning Mistblade.
Yes, it would not have piercing in this example. It would be in line with what we saw Beckoning Mistblade be.
I think I'm inclined to disagree, which makes it a good prediction. Because I feel like Mark is so integral that they wouldn't just put it on the weapons, you know? I could be wrong.
Yeah, I also think it's interesting because you could do some really fascinating effects. Like, let's say you want to transform. Like, you really want to transform. You can attack with a stealth card, then activate Flick Knives to flick the dagger. The dagger is considered hit. You mark the opponent. Like, maybe they blocked your stealth card because it was really easy for them to block the 0 for 3. So you don't consume the mark, and then that lets you transform. So, like, in the reaction step, you can be like, oh, am I hitting? Then I won't Flick Knives. Oh, they are blocking me? I will Flick Knives, so I can transform. And I think that's a really fascinating little interaction that could be fun to play with.
Now, for the first fan-submitted prediction, we're going to go over Darth Prentice's. Hi, Darth Prentice. They said 2 words, generic dagger.
Sheesh.
And I think that's pretty spicy.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I think sharing weapons is a really cool idea. And have they done that before in a set? I can't remember.
There was Talishar, but I think that's the only really generic weapon we've seen outside.
And it wasn't in a draftable set.
Yeah.
It was Crucible of War. So
That's true.
having a generic, our second ever generic weapon in the game in a set where everyone uses the same weapon, I think that could be pretty cool.
I think it's a very, very cool idea.
And in some of the arts, the daggers of like Fang and Arachne certainly seem similar, like not in color, but at least in like the physical design of it. So maybe it like gets different effects if you're Chaos or Draconic if you equip it.
Oh, that'd be
Kind of spicy, right?
Yeah.
But also, like, Cinder's daggers look so different than the other two. That's the only thing. But I honestly think it's a really cool prediction.
And it might not be exclusive to the, like, hero-centric daggers that we normally get in the set. It might just be in addition to, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
True.
Like an extra option. Heavy hitters had multiple weapons rolling around in the draft environment.
True.
Like this cool random generic dagger that you can grab in draft to, like, add into, like, the token daggers everyone's using.
Our next Discord prediction comes from our good buddy Prime Frog, who says, token daggers for Syndra. I think they are going to be pretty weak weapons, but strong because you can swarm the board with them. So, yes.
I think that makes sense. I mean, you can't, like, equip more than 2 unless she has 4 arms for some reason. But it would be pretty cool if she can, just equip multiple daggers over the course of the game, because as it stands, it seems like they seem pretty vulnerable to graveyard disruption, like gravekeeping or what's another card that banishes? I don't know. Passover, yeah.
Yeah. Misfail heroes having random play into every single hero. Who would have thunk it?
I didn't even think about, like, the daggers that I'm recurring with Syndra being vulnerable to, like, graveyard disruption, because it's not something that happens a lot in this game.
And definitely not at, like, instant speed or, like, on defensive turns.
Right.
Yeah. But Zen can do it.
No, Fuzzy.
Enigma can
Zen,
do it.
Enigma, and New. New can do it in 2 different ways.
Well, I already hate those other 2. I didn't need an extra reason. But yeah, token daggers for Syndra, like equipping extra, having maybe like 3 or 4 daggers on the field. She looks like she's got a whole army there ready to go in her hero art.
Well, I think even if you attack with them, they're still in your equipment slot. You can't re-equip a third or fourth dagger with the other one still on the chain link.
Unless her specialization says, hey, for the turn, you get 2 extra slots.
Yeah, or the dagger's like, you can equip this even if you have 2 full equipment slots.
Yeah. Oh, that would be nasty.
Yeah. Or like little ally daggers.
Oh, nasty.
I think like it's 1,000 weapons. Why can't Syndra have just little daggers?
The daggers are flying for whatever reason.
Yeah, they're flying. She doesn't need hands, guys. Thank you both, Darth Brantis and Prime Frog, for submitting predictions. Moving on a little bit, I have a prediction that I think there's going to be legendary Draconic arms that in some way give power based on the number of Draconic cards that you've played.
Jesus fucking Christ, Fuzzy!
I'm not saying it's 1-to-1, like every Draconic card you play gives you an extra 1 power. It might be a repeatable effect. It might just be like something you use once, kind of like, the ones that got banned.
Stubbies?
Yeah, stubby hammers. Or maybe it's like something where the third Draconic attack you play each turn gives you a power, kind of like Tiger Stripe Shuko.
That would be better because it seems like Syndra has this weird quest for multiple chain links of Draconic attacks, but all of her attacks cost 1 unless you use like that Art of Dragon Blood or whatever. Mm-hmm. So maybe there's like an extra like threshold buff that she couldn't really use with Shuko.
Yeah. I mean, I like the shout that we're getting another legendary equipment piece for Draconic. You're shouting out like arms specifically. Mm-hmm. I like that because when I look at the other Draconic heroes that we've had, Phi and Dromai, the arms don't seem super flavorful, exciting, or like build aroundy for them. I guess in a way, Tiger Stripe Shuko is nice because it gives +1 to your Phoenix Flames, and that synergizes well with what Phi is trying to do. But I would like to see like more Draconic design space built out, and I feel like the arm space is an open space in the Draconic design and what Draconic has access to. Yeah, that is a good place to build on that.
You know, it's funny because now that I'm thinking about it more, I think I'd want to see a Draconic headpiece for Draconic arms.
Well, you get one.
Yep, these are the notes I wrote down. I'm going to stick with them. I'm betting on legendary Draconic arms that give power and that care about the number of Draconic cards played.
Well, see, I have a headpiece that I'd like to make a prediction about. I think there's going to be a second Crown of Dominion, but it's for Chaos.
Ooh.
Because we've seen Spurlocked, which is generic Chaos. Mm-hmm. And, actually, I don't think you're allowed to put that in your deck and equip, like, this Crown of Dominion.
No, you would not be.
Okay, so maybe that's not as smart as I thought. But maybe there's generic cards I care about if you're chaotic, similar to like the Imperial Ledger, Imperial Warhorn, stuff like that.
Yeah. I think that's honestly a decent shout. It's maybe a little bit more of a wild prediction because of that little niche interaction of you can't run chaos cards without chaos.
Well, this will make a lot more sense in the yellow pitch.
I still think it's a great little thing. I think. If I remember correctly, during Rosetta, you also had a prediction of like a Crown of Rosetta that lets you like be Earth and Lightning or something like that.
Okay,
I think you just really like Crown of Dominion.
To be fair, there was spelling of the crown revealed very early on, so I was like,
someone get this man a crown.
I know, seriously. I need a crown.
It's super cool design. I'd love to see them return to it again. I think you should just keep making the prediction until they do it, and you'll be like, I've been here the whole time, baby.
Like crown, shadow crown, mystic crown.
And you're talking about, because I think we kind of glossed over it, you're talking about a headpiece that gives you a talent, right?
Yes.
Kind of like the Crown of Dominion turns you royal.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And, some other subsequent effect, you get a gold token or a chaos token. I don't know. Yeah.
For my prediction, for my equipment piece, I say that there's going to be a legendary generic leg piece to specifically address Spectra.
Oh.
So I think this is me looking back on what LSS said in the BNR statement back in September. In that BNR, LSS said, in 2025, we want to print specific tools to help people deal with what other heroes are trying to do. And I think something that lets you avoid or get around Spectra is something that every single hero needs, and they are going to want to give that to every single hero. I'm thinking like a legendary version of Snapdragon Scalers, which has already looked like it comes from Volcor and has that sort of art design to it. So I'm expecting a bumped up version of that.
What's
Giga Dragon Scalers.
Yeah, what's a grown-up version of a snap? Because a snap is something a tiny dragon would do. It's like Chomp Dragon Scalers.
Chomp Dragon Scalers. Yep, that's it.
Of course, also looking at this prediction, I'm also not super confident because this would also mean giving free action points. But maybe this would be like if your attack is removed from the combat chain without resolving it in the way that Spectra does, like then you can make another attack. And you get the action point back. So I think...
Yeah, like the wording could be like, if your attack is confused because the target was there a second ago and now it suddenly isn't, then you get 2 free action points.
Yeah, like it could be, but then also like, does that just become an auto include in every single deck? Like I think there's a lot of issues with this prediction. I wanted to be specific enough, but really I'm expecting another legendary generic that is going to help everybody deal with what is a toxic play pattern.
See, to kind of respond to the heart of what you're saying here, you're responding to an article that LSS printed where they said, hey, you're all going to get more tools to deal with bullshit, right? My impression from the article was a little bit more specifically that classes were going to get support for these situations rather than generic cards were going to be printed.
Sure,
you know?
but I'm also thinking in the terms of like, they always like printing like a big generic legendary at the start of a year that ends up being the gold foil throughout the year.
You're totally right.
And last year that was the headpiece.
Balance of Justice.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for seeing in my eyes that I was begging for someone to remember that name. It was the Balance of Justice. I'm expecting another one, but maybe it's going to be a headpiece again, right? Because the year before, or 2 years before, it was Crown of Providence. So, like, maybe they're going to do another 2-block headpiece, but I would like to see the leg piece get some love. I think it is a generic space where, like, everyone just kind of constantly runs Snapdragon Scalers, and it's like, I'd like to see some more design space put there for generics rather than all head slot, head slot, head slot.
Someone get this man some shoes.
Give me some motherfucking shoes.
And last prediction before we go to the next section is Icthaya. He's done some pretty good predictions and also submitted some cards to our custom card design contest. Their prediction was, my nonsensical prediction is another class is going to get the ability to throw their weapon or armor for some effect. Like a flick chest piece? Question mark? I'm making a face.
Wacky.
And one of the examples when he submitted this prediction was that maybe like Guardian. Wait, I'm gonna bring it up.
Oh, that, yep. I smell the flavor.
He was saying that like Guardian or Warrior would be able to maybe like throw a shield in order to prevent damage from a thrown dagger.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Ooh.
In like this, I'm imagining this arms race, right? Like the warriors are like, I've got armor, and the ninja's like, then I throw my dagger, haha. And the warriors are like, then I throw my shield.
And then he goes, bet.
Generic shield might be a good shout.
Oh, that would be sick.
Guardians and Warriors both technically have some shield design in their space. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for the submission. That seems really fucking cool, and I hope it exists at some point in Flesh and Blood for sure.
And Icthia's going to give us one more prediction near the end of the episode, too.
Moving on to Yellow Pitch, we wanted to talk about the talents, Chaos and Draconic. We've already seen a little bit from both of these, both Chaos in terms of Spurlocked and the Arachne hero design, and Draconic we've already seen it in Uprising. So we have some idea of what's here, but with Rosetta, LSS really reimagined what those talents looked like. Do we think they're going to do something similar here? Joel, why don't you start us off with the prediction?
Sure. So I have mixed feelings about Chaos, and a lot of my friends and locals have been expressing their concern about like Arachne Huntsman being like left in the dust because what's his face Marionette is like taking the spotlight. So I actually think that my prediction is going to be Chaos will be the meme talent with lots of highly variant, powerful effects like Spurlocked and Marionette's hero power. The reason why I think this is because Spurlocked, well, I don't know. There's some like nuance there. Spurlocked was obviously a very special case because Brody Spurlock won the Invitational, and got a card made after a design of his. And Marionette is just one hero power. It's technically one card, which is the hero. But the fact that it requires rolling of a dice, I've heard other people say that like because of that variance, because you can't rely on any of the powerful effects from the Arachne suite, it's not going to be that great, especially not competitively viable or picked up by pro players in a large margin, just because like there's nothing you can rely on. Similar to like how Scabskin Leather's Brute in general has not been super successful outside of KO in the competitive circuit.
Or Rhinar and Blitz.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I definitely see that. Chaos is once again leaning on variance. I also remember, and this is just complete like me trying to remember a casual conversation James White had like a year ago, where he said that he thinks that it's important for there to be an archetype that leans more into variance for a specific type of player, and that not every design needs to be for every player, right? Chaos could be the highly varianced, fun, symmetrical effect sort of design that
totally
is,
random
that
raw
is
XD.
so much fucking fun at armories and will never be seen in a top 8.
Yeah,
that is entirely possible.
This seems like the coin flip deck of like Magic the Gathering. If you guys play Commander, it just seems like a bunch of really zany effects, but you can win an armory with it if you roll well enough. There's a lot to be seen about Chaos. It's literally just like 2 cards that I'm basing this prediction off of, but that's what I think Chaos is going to be.
To be fair, one of those cards is 7 cards.
Yeah, true. How about you, Clark?
My prediction, and I feel fairly confident on this, is that there will be no generic Chaos cards. They will only appear on Assassin cards. They will only appear alongside Assassin. I say this because Spurlocked is in the expansion slot.
Oh.
What's up with that? What's up with that? That should be draftable, right?
Yeah, I feel it.
We have a Chaos hero.
To kind of answer your rhetorical question, it could be Spurlocked is just a special case card. This is the first time that we had like a community designed card. It was the reward from the Invitational, so maybe they decided to put it in the expansion slot because as they were designing the product, they didn't want to leave a space, right? They kind of were going to stick it in the expansion slot no matter what, and it happened to feel like a Chaos card, so they gave it the Chaos tag. But the fact that it's Chaos doesn't have a lot to do with it being expansion slot. It's just a special card, so they put it in a special place. But the other idea is that
I think it's only going to be attached to Assassins, aka Chaos Assassin Majestics, or our Chaos Assassin hero card. Maybe a Chaos Assassin Dagger, right? That is sort of what I'm expecting to see the Chaos Talon be. I don't think there will be generic Chaos cards. The other reason I think this is because when I looked through and I generally counted where set codes were outlined for the Draconic heroes, it looks like they want each section to be about 70 cards, split between the talent and the class. And the thing is that there's not really space for generic Chaos to go anywhere. Where they put generic Draconic and where they have put the generic cards, there isn't space for Chaos in there. So I don't think, just looking at general set codes and what the numbers look like and the way that they organize sets looks like, that there is going to be room for generic Chaos cards. So I don't think there are going to be any.
so just Chaos Assassin cards.
Only Chaos Assassin cards.
Cool. I think that's a little bit radical, a little bit, but I'm going to take it up a notch for my prediction.
Yeah, undermine me here, Fuzzy.
We know we have Spurlocked, and we also know that Arachne Orb Weaver, the 3rd Agent of Chaos, is going to have a special dagger that they associate with called Graphene Scullalaire. So I don't think, other than those cards I've just named, there's going to be any other Chaos cards.
Whoa.
Except for maybe one other. Okay?
Whoa, what?
Like, I'm just kind of getting the vibe that there's going to be no more than one other Chaos card. And when I said that earlier, when I was making the notes, I said there's going to be 0 to 1 other Chaos cards at all printed in the set. And my co-hosts were like, that's not good enough, Fuzzy. You need to get more specific than that. 0 to 1 other Chaos cards isn't, like, specific enough. So I wrote down that it's going to be the Fabled. There's going to be a Chaos Fabled Gem.
I love that shout.
Maybe like a Universe of Madness, and it's like a landmark.
Well, I mean, what was the first thing that we saw with the Hunted?
I have no idea.
It was the fucking eye. The eye with the numbers going through it.
Chaos Fabled Gem for the set, no other Chaos cards. So all that room that, like, Clark was saying there's some room for Chaos Assassin Majestics in the set. I think he could be right, but I'm banking that they're all just Assassin Majestics. That we're going to see, like, at least 6 Assassin Majestics in the set.
Yeah.
One for each of the different demi-heroes. Because we've seen one for the Tarantula Toxin. It's, like, themed on the demi-hero of the Tarantula one. And I think we're going to get one for each hero.
That's interesting. I think one thing that I would be concerned about with that is, man, they're really giving Assassins a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yeah, it's LSS's protected class.
I know that they are catching up Assassins to the card pool that everyone else has, but, like, that's a lot.
All right, and now let's go over to the Draconic side of things, which I think is more interesting. My prediction is that the majority of Warrior and Ninja cards, around 70%, will be generic, but through other abilities will be made Draconic.
Yeah.
And the reason I think this is because, again, if you look at the set codes, also, shout out to Fabry for this, like, insane, like, spoiler, like, database looking thing that we
Holy
can
shit,
use.
yeah.
It's been so helpful, especially for this episode. But in general, it's just really cool to keep track of all the spoilers in one place.
And also the set codes, right? Being able to see the organization ahead of time.
Exactly. So the reason I think this is because the set codes for the generic section of Warrior and Ninja are just way larger, or like have wider gaps in numbers than the Draconic side of things. And already with the, like, stances and the fealty tokens and the ninja attack actions, they all say if it's Draconic, and they're not Draconic themselves. So I think the majority of Warrior and Ninja cards, around 70%, will be untalented Warrior and Ninja cards. And this way, they sprinkle support in through the entirety of the class, but still keep some of the effects either through fealty tokens or, like, Art of Dragon Blood or whatever, and make them Draconic in some other way. Because based on, you know, all the set codes that we've seen so far, the gaps in numbers are larger in the section where there are untalented Warrior and untalented Ninja cards. So that makes me feel good about, you know, the support I'll be getting as a Warrior player. But I could be wrong, but that's just kind of what I think will happen in the set.
No, I think it's a really good shout because it makes a lot of sense. Like, if you were trying to build the entire set and these hero abilities around marking and then consuming those marks for fealties for the Warrior and Ninja classes, then you need there to be a reason for the fealty tokens, and sacrificing them to turn untalented cards talented for effects is, like, exactly what you want to be happening in the set. It just flows so naturally as a thought.
Totally. I can totally see it.
For my prediction on Draconic, I think Rupture's out of here. I don't think they like Rupture, and I don't think I like Rupture either. So I think we are going to get a new Draconic keyword that's going to help reimagine the class. And I think it's going to be called, well, I am calling it a light. My prediction is not that they'll call it a light. That's an easy way to lose a prediction point. But I think it will activate when you pitch a red. So I guess, like, my main prediction is new keyword, not going to be built around Rupture and long chain links in the same way that it was back in Uprising. Instead, Draconic is going to be based far more around what is being pitched. And I think this is really meaningful because one of the inherent benefits to Draconic as a class was that you don't really have to pitch, but you still get red effects, right? That was always sort of one of the strongest things about the class. But with Warrior and even with Ninja, I think that there's a really big emphasis on, like, pitching a blue to fuel your turn. And I just don't really see how you can be like, here's a Draconic talent that cares about reds. Also, make sure you have, like, 18 blues in your deck. That feels weird to me, right? The whole point of Draconic is that you reduce the amount of blues that you actually need to play. But it's still rough because you don't want to give them 4 extremely playable cards that are all red in their hands, right?
And make it work.
and make it work. So instead, giving a reward for pitching reds, having more Draconic cards that require a pitch, and then that Art of the Dragon Blood, hero ability from Fang, these things start to see a lot more justification for activating and getting the cost reduction, because you can pitch once to like maybe Flamescale Furnace, play that Art of the Dragon Blood, and then have everything be cost reduced and a light is turned on. Like, you can get some really, really powerful effects in that design space. So I think pitching a red is going to be really important. Flamescale Furnace is always going to be there as a way for them to turn on that ability. Yeah. I think it's really, really cool.
Kind of like how boost is a mechanic for Mechanologist, but Tekla Foundry Heart is like boost without actually putting the boost keyword on it.
Exactly, yeah. So I think there's going to be a promotion around pitching reds. And if anything, I think that's going to help Draconic heroes, because it's going to help them start thinking about second cycle and like saving their cards for second cycle.
Cool.
Yeah.
For my prediction, unfortunately, I lied to everyone. We said this pitch was about Chaos and Draconic talented cards, but I have a third talent that I'm going to be talking about, which is the Royal talent. I think we're going to be seeing more generic cards that give you an extra bonus effect if you are Royal, such as Imperial Decree. Like, I don't think we're going to reprint Imperial Decree, but we might see some new ones. New extra gravy Royal cards.
I think maybe Majestics.
Sure.
I think like a Majestic generic with that effect on it makes a lot of sense.
I could even see some like draft playables, like commons and rares.
Yeah, because these are heroes that we can play, but they both, when I say these, I mean like Fang and Syndra, but they both seem like they're high up in like the Drakai, Imperium, Empire, whatever.
Yeah.
And their little hierarchical class.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah. So I think they'll have resources at their disposal similar to like Zuko and Azula. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. It's a great shout. I would be if I was LSS, I would be concerned about giving more utility to Crown of Dominion. If I was LSS, I would be worried about Crown of Dominion, because people are already running it just to start the game with gold. Do you also now want to open up like a bunch of commons and rares that can further chip away at their class identity by having benefits by being Royal? Like, I think these effects might have to be super niche, like the ones that we've already seen, for them to appear in that sort of way. Because otherwise, I feel like anyone could just run Crown of Dominion and then like these good generics.
So it sounds like where my prediction says we'll see generic cards like Imperial Decree, Imperial Warhorn. You're thinking we might see something more like Tome of Imperial Flame, where it's a Draconic card that has a benefit if you're Royal.
Yeah, because when I look at the 2025 design and development outlined guides, what was number one? Class and talent identities. Like, that is their primary focus of maintaining throughout the game. And so I think that printing these generics with another generic equipment that can all synergize together and become more powerful means that you just sort of have this little Royal package you could put into any hero, and I don't know if they want that.
Okay, I can see that. So for Blue Pitch, we have some reprints we want to talk about, a little discussion about gem packs, as well as what we expect as far as class support. I'm going to start us off. I think we're going to get a Razor Reflex reprint. I think Razor Reflex would go really nicely in this draft environment. All the one costs floating around. It says Dagger on the card. It's the Dagger set.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's like borderline ground fruit, but I'll let you have it.
No, if anything, I think it's good, because like, is this a reaction set?
Yes.
We have seen Lay Low, which is a 3-block defense reaction.
We've also seen like 5 of the 6 Arachniforms with attack reaction. Discard any card in your deck.
Definitely a reaction set. Yeah, no, this is a really good shout, Fuzzy.
And provoke.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Warriors in it. Yeah, this is like going to be a big reaction set. Actually,
but I'm gonna let you have it, because I also have a ground fruit prediction, because I think Flamescale Furnace is going to get reprinted.
Ooh,
This feels like a little bit more bold to me.
What they did with Bright Lights.
Yeah. Like, not directly synergistic with this, because I actually don't think Flamescale Furnace is going to be good for either of the Draconic heroes, but I think they're going to reprint it anyways, because it's just like so adjacent to the set.
Sure, yeah.
Similar to Tekla Foundry Heart with the new Mechanologist heroes, because like Tekla doesn't use it.
Yeah, Tekla doesn't use it. Dash IO is actually interesting because what she got in the Armory deck is pretty solid, and so she'll swap between the two. And Max just likes it because it blocks 3. I think it's a good one. I think it's also a really important reprint because Flamescale Furnace spiked. That card was $20. It is now $80.
Yeah.
I know this because I was working on a budget buy list for my Armory Deck at Home series. And I was like, I can run Flamescale Furnace. This is so great. And then they're like, the next set's going to have Draconic in it. And I'm like, oh, no, the fuck, I can't have this card in this deck. It was more than the cost of like the entire budget was. The card spiked ridiculously. I'd love to see a reprint help bring that back down. Okay, this is a game. I am going to call upon the gods of chaos and the cult of La Apocalyptica, and I will decide my prediction based on the rolling of a dice.
Oh.
I have the dice.
Wait. You didn't call it. You have to say which one's which.
Okay. Evens, there will be a CNC reprint.
Okay.
Odds, there will not be a CNC reprint.
Goodness.
Evens,
Ooh.
there will be a CNC reprint.
Sheesh.
There will be a CNC reprint in the gem packs because I don't know how the fuck they are ever going to print this card in a draftable set ever again.
Oh, yeah.
CNC is so overpowered. I don't know how they get that at Majestic Rarity and just like let you draft and have that in a draft. No, that's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's a really fucking good card. And
They
like,
could print it in the expansion slot.
I don't think they're gonna print it in the expansion slot.
Well, they could also print it in the set with like Pummel and D-Reacts.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
Put the best 2-card combo in the game in draft.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't see a world where they can ever put a card with this level, just like Sink Below and Fave Foreseen.
So you're
I don't
saying
think like these cards are just they are too at their peak to be healthy in a limited environment. So it can't be printed there. I don't think they're going to print it in the expansion slot. So I think they're going to put it into gem packs, and I think that's the best way to reprint it. If they put it in the expansion slot, I think we're going to see exactly what happened with Findalls, right? Which is that it's going to tank, stay low for like a few months, and then spike right back up to where it was, if not go higher.
Well, because we won't know the pull rates and the distribution of the set until way after, and that's gonna that's going to impact the price the most.
I mean, it's definitely a world that they reprint it in the expansion slot. So sure, it could go there, but I think the gem pack is also great because it gives a really, really big pull in the gem packs.
Yeah.
And the gem packs get distributed to everybody at the armory.
Yeah.
And that gives newer players a chance of opening the CNC that they need to bump up their deck and make it more powerful.
Yeah,
it
that'd be
would
clutch.
be on theme too for this gem pack specifically.
Yes.
Because Command and Conquer's got the Emperor on it.
I think it's also extremely important because this gem pack will float or sink based entirely on what cards are put inside of it, right? And they said that this is a fucking gas one and that they're gas reprints. I don't know what else that could mean other than CNC. The community's been calling for it forever. It is one of the biggest barriers of entry into the game right now. Like, I think they really need to reprint it soon, and I don't know if there is a healthy space to put it other than these gem packs.
Well said. Next, we have another fan-submitted prediction. Mulvane, who just recently visited us at an armory. Shout out Mulvane.
That guy's pretty cool.
They said a codex / codices. I think it's Kodai. Anyways.
Kodai.
It's Codices.
Kodai. It's Kodai. Kodai reprint would be pretty spice. And I disagree. That would be fucking cringe.
Sorry, you got us a little off kilter with your wonderful pronunciation of Kodai.
Da-dun, 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 da-dun,
Yeah, it says Kodai right there. Kodai.
I reject Google as a reputable source. Thank you very much.
I don't know what you're talking about, Clark. CODICES, Kodai.
The CES are silent, obviously.
It was a visual gag audience. You couldn't tell, but I turned my laptop around
Yeah, a Codex of Frailty reprint means that I could actually play the new assassin hero.
Yeah.
Because I think like the budget. I was just talking to Joel. We were talking about how like this new Arachne Marionette hero looks so cool, but like we're not going to play it because we're not going to invest the like $500 to build an assassin deck because that deck is like majestic soup and it needs lots and lots of expensive cards to play. You know?
Yeah.
I used to play like really well. I guess we could build like budget versions of it, but bleh.
I mean, yeah, the assassins just all impinge upon their own design spaces really, really heavily. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a class-based prediction, and you know me, I love Ninja. I don't think it's a secret. Ninja's my favorite class. I'm excited to see another set that has Ninja in it, and I'm hoping that we see the more combo side of Ninja, because that's my favorite part of Ninja is the combo space. They haven't put combo on any of the cards that we've revealed so far, but we know that sequencing is going to be at least a little bit important because there's Ninja cards that we've seen that care about whether or not they're Draconic. Now, as a Katsu main, what I'm looking at is none of the cards in the Ninja set, none of the Ninja cards that we've seen so far are actually for you, you know? They're like no effects based on Katsu, right? Because they only care about Draconic. Other than that, there's nothing there. But maybe we'll see some other Ninja cards in the set that do have something that Katsu might want. Now, I'm not saying that my prediction that I'm about to give you is something Katsu would want, but I think it would be cool if we saw a Ninja card that had the combo keyword, and the combo that it was comboing off of is a dagger attack. We saw in Part the Mistveil, the combo design space expand a bit with Aspect of Tiger, the card that combos off of a red or a yellow or a blue. Like, that's very different than the specifically named combo cards that we've seen earlier. So something that combos off a dagger attack would go really well with the theming that we've already seen in the set.
Yeah.
And it would give ninjas a little bit more focus on their weapon. Previously, ninjas just had a decent weapon that was not really the focus of their game plan, but it was something that like kind of worked really nicely because they wanted to be flexible. But actually like naming it like, hey, do your daggers and get this combo effect could be kind of cool.
It's very cool, and it's a good shout because we've seen them be more willing to expand what things combo off of, right? Comboing off of Crouching Tiger or the Ancestry series, which combos off of whether the previous attack was red, yellow, blue. And they've been shown to be willing to print cards that combo in unique and interesting ways. I think it's a great shout.
I would even say maybe the combo effect throws the dagger, like a Flick Knives effect, or like Hurl.
Yeah.
Syndra would totally like use a card like that, and it would fit well in the limited environment.
Yeah, very, very in line with Syndra, but then maybe playable in some other fringe archetypes. Like maybe Katsu can use that as like a 1-damage finisher.
Sure.
At the end of the game.
For my prediction, I'm going to doom a little bit here because I am just appalled at another fucking Assassin getting printed. I think Assassin is going to get a new set of Majestic contracts that irreparably break the game. Again.
Like 3 new Majestic contracts?
Even
Maybe.
1 would piss me off. So any number above 1, yeah.
But they need contracts.
Make them common. Make them shitty. I don't care.
What if it was an Arachne specialization?
That would still piss me off.
I mean,
I get that you need it for Arachne. I get that Huntsman still needs to play the game. I just don't like playing against Assassin. It just does everything Warrior does, but better with on hits. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's my prediction.
I would get frustrated if New got another one, you know?
yeah, if it was like super synergistic with New.
New already makes me want to bash my head against a wall in the best way. Shout out to new players.
So true.
For my prediction, I believe that Ninja is going to get a new legendary leg piece of equipment. I know I'm talking a lot about leg equipment and like
That makes sense.
I really think it's just the design space that they've like just not done anything with in a long time. I feel like it's been really, really stagnant. And like I want to see them do more with it. I think it's because leg pieces are typically associated with action points and go again. They've been specifically trying to like gate that. But like get more creative with it. Like I think LSS like has had a whole year now of like not really printing powerful, fast, aggressive action point based leg pieces. It's time for them to do it. Maybe give Warrior one that like gives their weapons go again, rather than so like they have a trade off between Valiant Dynamos for like a blocking mid range gameplay, or they have this other legendary leg piece that lets them like actually shove damage. I think that's good and healthy for the game. I know I just said Warrior when I was talking about Ninja, but like, just give us some fucking good legendary leg pieces. I just want to see them do more with that equipment slot.
I've never thought of it that way before, Clark. LSS has it baked into their game where like arms piece gives you power, chest piece gives you resources.
I actually took that point from you, Fuzzy. I think you mentioned it in an episode last year.
Legs piece gives you action points. And they're like, wait a second. Anything that gives you extra action points is low-key broken as fuck. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot easier for them to print arms. It's a lot easier for them to print chest. But, like, how am I going to give a player extra action points in a way that's not, like, crazy?
Yeah. And so, like, I don't know. Ninja, thankfully, already has so much Go Again baked into their kit that I feel like that is probably where they might be willing to do that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Also, I just feel like Ninja needs more legendary pieces, right? They kind of have Tiger Stripe Shuko.
Mm-hmm. And Mask of Momentum.
And
that's it. Well, they have, like, Blazing Your Roy, but that's a Majestic and also bad, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, they have Breeze Raider boots right now as their, like, Majestic go-to featsies.
And I even think that is, like, specifically Katsu, because no one has the combo density that Katsu does.
If every ninja could do combo really easily like that, I feel like they would, though. Because, like, being able to just start in the middle of a combo chain is actually really good.
But it does require it to hit, so, like...
Breeze Raider boots does, yeah.
I guess it is also a reaction, though, right?
And it's only once per game.
Yeah.
It's actually not a reaction. It's just an on-hit.
Oh, it's just an on-hit, yeah. But, like, then it's just so easy to, like, block it out and be like, oh, you started in a chain with something that doesn't have Go Again. I'm not going to let you get Go Again.
it's pretty balanced, you know?
Yeah. Like, it's always been at its strongest when you do, like, a double dishonor line. By just being like, hey, I already know that I'm going wide. Fuck your shit up, buddy. like I hit on the second chain link, so I'm going to pop Breeze Riders now because I know I'm going to keep fucking going.
Oh, yeah. Fuzzy's been a fucking terror with that card and that combo line
so,
many
like,
times.
That's how it's been used. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just so mid. It's really only seeing play in Katsu. I see so many games where the Katsu never even breaks it, really. Mm-hmm. So, like, I think they just need some extra design space there. I think they have some stuff in the arms. They have great stuff in the chest. Like, I think Bindles is a very reasonable thing to run. I think even Heart and Cross Trap is, like, an interesting choice to make in the equipment slot. But the legs is just boring. And they need to fucking fix that.
Get this man some goddamn shoes.
Give me some motherfucking shoes.
I think it would be cool, like, where you get a benefit similar to Tiger Stripe Shuko caring about 2 or less base power, but this one cares about, like, the momentum you have, like how many Go Again attacks you put or how many chain links you have getting a bonus.
Or even, actually, I love the shout about Tiger Stripe Shuko. Target card with base 1 or less gets Go Again. Or base 2 or less gets Go Again.
Well, that's...
And repeatable.
I don't know about repeatable.
Not like the random common thing from Outsiders.
Tide Flippers?
No, even worse than that. There was a little attack.
Fleetfoot Sandals?
Yeah, little Fleetfoot Sandals.
Yeah. But, like, if it blocks 2 with Guardwell...
then it's a little better. It's about 2 points better.
The next prediction we have is actually from Talon, our producer, and he thinks that there's going to be assassin-only traps. And this is surprising, coming from the Ranger trap-centric main.
Yeah, it was a prediction that he submitted with Sadness.
Yeah, this is like his Doomer prediction, right? Joel, you were like, Assassin's going to get a broken contract and the whole world's over. Mm-hmm. He's like, Assassins are going to get their own specialty traps and they don't want Riptide to be good.
And it makes sense, because Arachne Trapdoor, which I believe is the 6th form of Arachne, that seems to be the weakest form, because traps are very, very niche in application and only get full value, obviously, when it like defends the correct card, but also specifically Riptide, because you either get to load something in your arsenal or ping your opponent for 1 damage.
Yeah, that extra utility.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe there's a trap that has additional effects by being discarded to, one of your other Arachne effects, like discarding an assassin card to get +3. Maybe you get an extra effect by discarding this specific trap.
Maybe. I also think, like, they don't want a Riptide trap-only deck. I think that would actually be extremely frustrating to exist in the game, so I think they really want to actually gate the amount of traps that they put in the game.
Absolutely.
That's available to Riptide. So I think it's a really good prediction, specifically because I think it's very realistic. I think if they want to print more traps, it's very likely that they're going to leave it specifically for assassins.
And we know there's basically has to be traps in the set.
Yeah, like there needs to be D-reacts to deal with 3 reaction-oriented classes.
No, but also like Arachne Trapdoor doesn't just look for a reaction. It looks for a trap card that you can play until your next turn. If there's no trap cards, that would be a dead effect, like a completely dead hero option.
Oh my god, why did I say Ninja's going to get Legendary Leg Piece? I should have just said that they were going to reprint traps.
That would have been a little bit more ground fruity.
That would have been the easiest point of my life. Bro, why am I out here talking about legs? I'm just losing, dude.
So as Clark mourns his point score, ready to move on to our Arsenal zone?
Sure. Yeah. Now, listeners, it's been 3 months, so you might not remember. But in case you don't, the Arsenal zone is the time in the podcast where we take a moment to talk about a card. It could be a card we hate, a card that we like, a card that we like to hate. But in this instance, we're talking about an expansion card that we want to see in the new Hunted set. And I think we're going to start off with a viewer submission question mark.
Yeah.
So Ikthaya, who already made a prediction, but you get a second one, they said, my real prediction is some new wager card of some sort. Some Betsy support question mark?
Yeah.
Now
I threw that in here because wager is not typically seen on generic cards outside of the one universal that we saw with Wage Gold. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I feel like if a wager card would show up anywhere, it'd show up in the expansion slot.
Yeah, Ikthaya doesn't necessarily think it has to be in the expansion slot, but we do.
Yeah, we were just trying to find the right place to put this prediction in the episode. It felt right to go here. And honestly, I kind of love the prediction. There is a chance that, like, this could end up going to Warrior, right? Warrior gets a wager card to help out Olympia.
Why not Brute?
Oh, yeah, I completely forgot about Olympia, to be honest with you.
Yeah. We do kind of have a slot in the expansion slot set codes that could be oriented towards Brute, or maybe they go back to generic and they return to their universal design. Why they would do another universal wager card, I'm not sure, but it's possible.
Or a triple hybrid, Warrior, Brute, and Guardian.
Yeah.
Next, I'm just going to go for my card. I think it's fairly quick. I think we're going to get an insane Acilio card. Namely because, what's-her-face, Verdant's got Thorn of Roses, which seems pretty cool. Some of our locals have been pretty excited about it. Some mid. But I also think Acilio just got hit really hard with a lot of the draw power being banned last year. So maybe he's due for some sort of buffer, and specifically like a Lightning Wizard card or maybe like an Acilio card. I don't know. But I think he needs something to push him over because as it stands, he just has a really awkward time, and most of the time you'd be better off just playing Aurora.
No, totally. He could definitely use the support. They banned those cards preemptively. They slammed their hands on the table and said, I'm tired of trying to design heroes working around Toma Findal like it's some boogeyman.
Yeah.
No more Toma Findal.
Yeah. If I can make a shout maybe about the design of the card, I'd like to see something that recurs of multiple sigils for one big power turn.
Oh, God. That's so strong.
I think it could be interesting. Like an X card that recurs X sigils, but it takes the entire action point.
To the field?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
As an X spell?
That would be so bad. It would be good, but bad, you know?
So, like, you spend a pitch of blue, play the card, and you get, like, 3 Sigil of Brilliances on the field in an ideal scenario.
Oh, yeah, never mind. No, fuck that with Sigil of Brilliance. I was thinking, like, other sigils and, like, Sigil of everything. Man,
Oh, yeah.
Sigil of Brilliance.
Every other sigil's fine. He has the best one, though.
I think LSS is going to print another Azuri specialization.
So, Fuzzy, you think, and let me just make sure I have this right, they're going to print of, like, only generic Assassin Majestics and then also an Azuri spec in the expansion slot.
Yeah.
Well,
You're the one that thinks they're going to print a legendary warrior shoes and a ninja shoes, okay?
and a generic chew.
Bro, I'm not beating the feet allegation. didn't even realize it until just now.
I thought about it, and I think Joel was thinking about it too.
Oh yeah, but I was like, I'm gonna let you have it. But oh man. Anyway,
Fuck me.
I think that makes a lot of sense because 3 of them care about stealth, but Azuri is the only one that hasn't had a set in a long time since Outsiders, and she hasn't gotten any like dedicated card support.
She's the least special all of a sudden. We gotta give her something.
Yeah.
Bonds and Persuasive has given her a good power.
Oh yeah, I don't think she needs it.
No, I think she could actually legitimately need it, but I think it's a little worrisome if they do. Like, if I was LSS, I wouldn't. Because I think the moment that new LLs, like, Azuri just becomes the best assassin again. And, like, I don't think that that's the rotating system that you want to be doing for assassin. I think you want to give them each special, unique identities and not just, this one does the assassin thing the best, so that's it.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense because the assassin majestic card pool are so easily slotted in each of the other assassins. I don't really know what they could add for Azuri other than like a really big attack that maybe
like another
use.
2 for 6.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because like the other assassins don't use that space as well.
Or yeah, just something like with a huge cost that can't be reduced or something. It's just something that can't be abused as well outside of Azuri's hero ability.
Another 2 for 6 assassin shout's actually pretty good. Because like then otherwise new can always just put like Venomous Bite on top of it in like a really clean 3-card hand. And like reaction give it +4.
I think another thing that the reason I was led here is I feel like LSS has recently been honoring past heroes that aren't getting the spotlight, even though they're related to the things that are going on in the set. Like when we went back to Rosetta, they're like, we're going to honor Briar with not only a Marvel version of the hero, and Rosetta Thorn, but also a card that she's the only hero that can play it in any format currently. Even if, like, later down the line, other heroes can play Regrowth Shock. Even though it's not technically a Briar spec, it feels like it was printed just for her, you know? I could see something like that happening in this set where they print something for a hero that, like, is close but not one of those 3.
Sure, it makes sense, but like I feel like Azuri would get enough support with this stealth support.
Maybe, like, I should have said something like an Emperor spec. That would give me something around the same vibe.
Yeah.
But
or
that's
like
not what I wrote
a
down.
Dromai. Like a Dromai spec.
Well, we'll probably get our dust.
But that's ground fruit. We said before the episode, no dust prediction. My prediction for the expansion slot card is that we are going to get a second Brute expansion slot card, and it is going to be a non-attack. Because they like doing that to us.
So what have we seen already?
So we have already seen Thick Hide Hunter, which is a yellow 2 for 6 that also blocks for 6. For me, the non-attack action card is, I think it might be another yellow or another red, but I think they were always looking at Blood Rush Bellow being a little bit of a problem. So I think they want to print something that can exist in the same space, another non-attack action power card for brutes that can't run the high density of 6s, like Cast Bones. But this is going to be red or yellow. It's going to be powerful. It's going to signal a power turn for the brute. But KO can't run this with Cast Bones and Blood Rush Bellow. Like, is Levia going to find the space for this with Blood Rush Bellow? No. So maybe it ends up being really, really good in Rhinar. And then if they ever do have to ban Blood Rush Bellows, we're going to have another power card, non-attack action that is ready to slot into the brute space.
I can see it. It's going to be some rules nightmare. Like, after you play this card with Go Again, all of your cards count as attack actions with 6 power as long as they're not on the combat chain. Like,
Jesus.
No, that's just bad. That's not a good card.
Me personally, I hope it's another 1 cost, a non-attack action, so we can enable rock gameplay a little bit more.
Yeah.
That could be interesting, yeah. Yeah.
I love me some rock gameplay a little bit more. Well, sweet. It sounds like those are all our predictions. Thank you for podding with me, boys. Thank you for listening, audience. I hope you guys tune in to our follow-up episode after the set releases, probably around early February, where we're going to rehash our predictions and see how well we did, as well as see how well we like the new set, see if it lives up to our standards and expectations.
And remember, join our Discord because it's the only place you can get spoilers.
It is the only place.
Yeah. So don't miss them. Okay, until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Pitch It To Me podcast is hosted by Fuzzy Delp, Clark Moore, and Joel Recinos. Executive producer, Talon Stradley. Logistics coordinator, John Farkas. Music by Dillon Hulse. Logo by Han V. Sound mixing, Christopher Moore. And last but not least, you. Thank you for listening. Please give us a follow on your favorite social media platform at Pitch It To Me podcast.
It's arguably our highest stake episode.
Because it's all about which host has the bigger flesh and blood dong.
Yeah, that one was not in the notes.
Oh, wait, why didn't I also make the shout of a universal generic that marks?
Oh, yeah.
Because then you can pump it through assassin and warrior pumps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you were cooking.
God damn it, dude! All my predictions are coming too late. I'm not putting them in the notes.
I know we didn't talk about marked cards at all, but I'm really curious to see how it shows up in the set. I think we're going to get some generic marked cards.
Oh, 100%.
I think like you could literally play Reinhardt and mark people if you wanted to. I don't even know if it would do anything. There might even be generic payoffs for mark too.
That'd be real funny.
Yeah, well, I mean, mark disappears on your next hit, so if you don't capitalize on the mark, then it won't matter.
But we've seen a generic D-React that does give you a benefit for them being marked.
No.
It
Laylo?
gives you a negative if you are marked.
And it gives you a benefit if the attacking hero is marked. It does both of those things.
Oh.
Wait, really?
If the attacking hero is marked, their next attack this turn gets -1 power.
Oh.
So we've seen a generic payoff for marked, and it also is a generic deficit. So that kind of makes me think that maybe like this is something that like will be leaked into every hero in the game if it wants to be. In like a much more subdued way, right?
Yeah. And like obviously certain heroes are going to take better use of it than others, just like wage gold and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Like if your fatigue deck, we're gonna have to cut all of this, but like if you're playing a fatigue deck and you like mark someone and you never hit them, but you're able to like keep using Laylo over and over again and like just getting the -1 for the rest of the game.